Hey everybody, it's Brett, and tonight I have an announcement to make. It's something that I've done before online. It's been quite a while, but I had an online gathering. There are lots and lots of them now with the what going on. But I would like to start a spiritual gathering online on Google Meet. And years ago, we had a gathering we did once a week on Skype. The reception, for whatever reason, wasn't very good at the time, but my reception here in town seems to be really good, my internet connection. And I've put a link for it in the description box down below. And what it will entail will be each person reading a passage, a page, whatever you want to call it, from some sort of a spiritual book that you'd like to read. And it's really kind of fun. And there probably are not any places that I would like to go to here in this little town for a spiritual meeting. But I think that I would really enjoy getting together with some of you all, and it would probably be good. And I've really been having a hard time dealing with humanity lately. And tonight, I opened the Course in Miracles book that you've seen me, maybe you saw me read this a long time ago. I haven't been reading it at all for many years. But tonight I opened to page or lesson 75, and I can read it to you. It's really nice, and it's really about forgetting about the past and forgiving the world, which sounds perfect for me. So it's entitled The Light Has Come. The light has come, you are healed and you can heal. The light has come, you are saved and you can save. You are at peace and you bring peace with you wherever you go. Darkness and turmoil and death have disappeared. The light has come. Today we celebrate the happy ending to your long dream of disaster. There are no dark dreams now. The light has come. Today the time of light begins for you and everyone. My light isn't going in the right direction. It is a new era in which a new world is born. The old one has left no trace upon it in its passing. Today we see a different world because the light has come. Our exercises for today will be happy ones in which we offer thanks for the passing of the old and the beginning of the new. No shadows from the past remain to darken our sight and hide the world forgiveness offers us. Today we will accept the new world as what we want to see. We will be given what we desire. We will to see the light has come. I just want to stop briefly and tell you what I've learned in the past and what is particularly important now as a practice. Okay, so when you really get into the study of physical, mental, and emotional healing, then you really get into all of these natural health things that I've been showing you that I've learned for so many years. And when you're very, very much focused on that solely, and then all of these things that you see happen in our world, like what you're seeing today, it's very, very difficult. It's very, very frustrating. It's very maddening. You can get like really, really angry. So, and there's a purpose for all of that, I'm sure. But at the same time, it can overwhelm you to the point of where it makes you sick. And that is really just such an opposite effect of what we want to ultimately accomplish. Do you see where I'm going with this? And so that's what this is all about. That's what books like The Course in Miracles and what teachings like what Mooji teaches are all about. Seeing beyond the physicality of the world we live in and realizing that we are all going to die and that all of this is just like, regardless of all of the hell that you see in this world, regardless of all of the denial, the health denial, and all the weaknesses of people that you hear me mention all the time, it really, when it comes down to it, at least on a spiritual level, at least on part of a spiritual level, it's not going to really matter ultimately. When you think about the universe, what I'm talking about here is more of a male energy, according to most what's the word? Earth teachings. Earth teachings are that the earth is the mother and the heavens are the father. Okay, so if you're really concerned, and also of the mother is more of a liberal mindset. Okay, a liberal, and even health. Most of these health things, for the most part, it seems, are more of a feminine, liberal mindset. Whereas most of these religions and a belief in the afterworld are more of a male, or I don't know. Do you see where I'm going with this? A male, a Mars mindset. So I think it's really, really important to have both, because you can just get totally, like, look at Asheville. Look at how liberal Asheville is and how horrible COVID has hit them. They look like zombies walking around, like they had no faith in the afterlife. And some people that have this kind of thing, if you have this kind of thing firmly ingrained in your being, then you're not so worried. But on the opposite side of the spectrum, if you get into something like this too much and you forget about your physicality, then you'll get overweight and sick and lose your connection to the earth, and you just won't be very healthy. And I've seen this in people like Paramahansa Yogananda and Mooji, and my friend Anne, my very good friend Anne Waters, that introduced me to the Course in Miracles years and years ago. I would go to the meetings on Wednesday, and they would talk about how, in the lessons in this book, they talk about how you try to condition yourself that this is not real, this computer is not real, this light is not real, these glasses are not real, this body is not real. So they're trying to get you to be conditioned into this mindset of understanding that it's all just very temporary. And that's all good, but I would say to Anne, there's something to be said for eating right and exercise and all of these things. And she would agree to a degree. But there are so many different things to ponder on with this. A lot of the religions, especially the Hindu religions, talk about too much chatter up here, okay, and how important it is, and the Buddhist religions talk about how important it is to not think too much and to meditate, and that's totally right. And just about all of the spirit, and that's one of the most difficult things for me. You all know me. You know me. The reason that you watch me largely is to listen to my mind. and my emotions. But another thing that they almost all agree upon is fasting. And that's something that I definitely need to get back into a lot more. And that's, you're going to see me fasting a lot more here soon. I'm fasting today. I have eaten nothing today. Hi, Joe. Hi, Doofwagon. Hi, Meatwad. My viewers, Meatwad and Doofwagon. Joe's the only normal name there. Okay, so let us continue reading this. Yes, Anne was my friend from Utah that died. And I can't remember what she had leukemia. The overproduction of white blood cells. Our longer practice periods will be devoted to looking at the world which our forgiveness shows us. This is what we want to see and only this. Our single purpose makes our goal inevitable. Yeah, I like that line. Our single purpose makes our goal inevitable. Simple is really good for me right now, and if I've got a single purpose, that makes life easy because I have enough on my mind and enough to do. With my own healing lately, it's been very extreme, and I think that my mind is causing my body a lot of grief. So today, the real world rises before us in gladness to be seen at last. Sight is given us, now that the light has come. We do not see the ego's shadow on the world today. We see the light, and in it we see heaven's reflection lie across the world. Begin the longer practice periods by telling yourself the glad tidings of your release. The light has come, I have forgiven the world. So that's the main phrase for this lesson. The light has come, I have forgiven the world. Okay, so all the pressure that the COVID vaxxers are putting on everyone right now, okay, that can make us very, very angry, mentally, emotionally. And the only way that we're going to be able to deal with it is to speak, well, not the only way, there's probably lots of ways. Speaking our truth, which is something that I did yesterday on a local email list. And by the way, 3 people asked, kind of congratulated me today, like woohooed me. They woohooed me today. And I didn't get any, I was tactful enough that I didn't get any bad energy back at me, at least not yet. No backlash. But if you're late in joining us, if you didn't hear me mention in the first of this live video, on Sunday nights at 9 o'clock, for a while at least, instead of doing Sunday Night Live, I am going to host, and even if I'm not there, you can just go. You can go. I'm going to host a live Google Meet. It's on the platform Google Meet. If you haven't heard of that, it's like Zoom or it's like Skype. I'm not sure how many people can be on it, but I think that quite a few. We'll see, huh? But the link is in the description box below. And on Sunday nights, and I'll just keep remembering to remind you that on Sunday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern time, which will not necessarily be where you're living, but 9 o'clock Eastern, we'll have this gathering, and it'll be the same link every week. And yeah, I hope to see you this Sunday night. I'll make it a point to be there for sure. And what it is just bring a spiritual book. We'll be able to see everyone. Unless you want to, if you don't want to be seen, you can turn your camera off. But we'll be able to see everyone. I haven't used Google Meet a lot. I've only used it once or twice, I think. But you'll be able to see and hear everyone. and we'll take turns reading some sort of a spiritual book. And if you're somebody that's like really dogmatic, like a die-hard Christian, I mean, you're welcome to come to this as long as you don't like project that your spiritual beliefs are the only ones that's legit, because I really hate that. And most people that watch this kind, most people that watch this kind of my kind of videos, they're really a bore. People that think that their spirituality is the only one. So you're welcome to join us, but please don't bring that kind of energy, or I will probably block you. I'm really good at doing that. But this isn't about I don't want to make it about that. I want to be as open as possible and as kind and cool as possible. So yeah, just pick yourself out some kind of a spiritual book. It doesn't even really have to be a totally spiritual book. It could be a funny book, because funny is spiritual in my book. And all kinds of things that can make you feel better, I mean, and good, can be read at these gatherings. And also, it'll be good to get away from YouTube and have a thing that's interactionary, if that's a word, where we're all interacting together. And I know that there are some haters out there that they'll probably pop on there. I've seen it before, but I'm not going to worry about it. Some people that don't like me for whatever reason, maybe they're vaxxers and blah blah. But yeah, that's another thing. I mean, I don't want to say only non-vaxxers should be allowed to this, because I don't really want to be that. I don't want to be rude about it, like I said. I don't want to be that exclusionary. I just want to, but most likely, yes. Probably most likely this is more for people that really need the spirituality of other non-vaxxers, because the pressure is kind of, at the moment at least, on us. And I think it's really going to take a lot of faith for us to get through this, especially people that are losing their jobs. I mean, I'm doing okay. Business isn't great, but it's doing okay. And that's just from me pulling some strings and so doing some different things, and definitely from creation feeding me the business. And I really appreciate it. But I know what I need. And what I need is some kind of a spiritual gathering where I can talk to and get talked to with friends, friends that I care about, you guys. And I don't have family anymore. They're in their Utah thing. And so yeah, I need friends, like-minded people, and my community is not going to just pan this thing that I'm telling you about, that I'm trying to create, that ultimately I will create. It's not just going to pan out overnight. All of the pieces have to be put into the puzzle, and it's a big puzzle. And I'm going to invite people from the Facebook group to join me, because I want them to get to know me and I want to get to know them and you, because some of you may very well be interested in joining this community. And I may not make it, this community, as well as exclusionary as I want to, and I may be more open to people that aren't as perfect as I'd like them to be, because that's kind of me, Mr. Perfecto. And that's not a good thing sometimes. It's got its pros and it's got its cons. But right now, I need to fulfill my needs, okay? And I need to just do whatever I can do. And I think that a whole lot of you also need this. I think that when we're doing our healing thing, we really need other like-minded people. That's what this community, this intentional community I'm doing is all about. Because I can tell you that one of the worst things that let me get my water. Hang on just a second. Okay. So everyone has felt loneliness. And one of the worst things I can tell you that I'm going through right now is loneliness. And the only way that I can get by that I can see right now, is to do an online gathering with like-minded people, because the people that like me and the people that I like, they live scattered all over the world. And this is perfect. And I just needed some prompting to get it going. It's not like I haven't known that I could do this before. There are tons and tons of online platforms, and as long as I'm using, well, if I'll probably use Chrome. I'll probably use Chrome because it's a Chrome platform. And if it doesn't work out good, we'll try something else. We'll try Skype, or we'll try Zoom, or whatever. But I'm not sure that, I don't know that Google Meet has a time limit, and that's I think I'm not sure, but we'll find out. Unlike Zoom, which has like a 40-minute time limit or something. So let's see what we've got. Hi, Mira Bentley from Southern Oregon. Are you in the Ashland area, Mira? I was thinking about living in Ashland. It's a nice little town. They have a little place there called the Metaphysical Bookstore that is just like kind of very, very cosmic. So hi, Lulu, Oregon, and hi, Joe. Are you going to join us, Joe? You've never connected with me on Facebook yet, and I've been kind of waiting for a long time, like years and years. Hi, Hope. Was bastards. Bastard, no idea. Thoughts on the malt liquor militia? No idea what that is. Thanks. Glad you're subbed to us, Hope. Thoughts on Jay Masters being kicked off social media? Not sure who he is, but I can tell you that with YouTube, you just have to be really careful. And okay, so in a video I made earlier today, I told you that I got kicked off Amazon's affiliate program. And it wasn't too damaging to me. It wasn't too big of a deal. In fact, like I'd said, it was kind of okay with me because I was able to clean up my website, and if anybody asked me about some of those products that they had seen, maybe I'd be able to still connect them up with that. I can still remember all the products, and perhaps I can find them on other places and make a new page on my website. But it's kind of the same thing. If you study how energy works, and if you've been around long enough, you see that things get too big for their britches. And that's what's happened with Amazon. Now YouTube, once again, like that's sort of happened with YouTube too. And they're very much controlled by the masses. And the mainstream does what's best for the mainstream. And that's not necessarily the best things for anyone that's progressive and anyone that thinks logically. And and that's kind of what this, I think it's really important for those of you that are like me, that if you think like me, if you feel like me, if you connect with the things that I've been talking about on my videos, then I'd like to invite you to join me on Sunday night at 9 p.m. In Google Meet. And the link is in the description box below. And yeah, it may take you a while to remember it, but I'll try and remind you regularly. Hopefully, yes, but first I have to buy a mic and a camera for my PC. Well, one of these Logitechs works pretty good. You can probably buy the corded one cheaper, probably 50, 60 bucks or something. They have a cordless model too that's around 100. And it just plugs into your computer with it's got both the mic and the camera. And I can't really show it to you unless I have a mirror. But it's called the Logitech, and you can buy one on Amazon. You can buy one probably in a lot of different places, including on, places in Mexico. But yeah, that's the new thing. We're gonna I may still do a Sunday Night Live instead sometimes, but it's probable that I'm not sure. I think that probably I'm not sure if I have to be there to admit people into the room or not, but we'll find out. I may have to allow someone else to be a moderator too, in case I'm gone, or maybe several people that show to be reliable and trustworthy people to also be moderators for the group. And who knows how big it'll get? It could be like that guy, Joel Osteen. That guy, Joel Osteen, that's just the quintessential televangelist. But yeah, I need like-minded souls to talk to. I've been extremely stressed lately because I've just been beating my head against the wall trying to figure out how to get things done that just aren't getting done. And they can come around, like the community I'm talking about, and relationships, love relationships and stuff like that. All of that can come around, but it's taking time. And that time is based mostly with me and my own healing. And so I'm sure you can understand what I'm talking about. I have a roommate of a friend who is a member of the Joel Osteen's church. Joel Osteen, he's at one time I was like, yeah, he says a lot of logical things. I can relate to Joel Osteen, sort of, on some levels. But this will be more of a down-to-earth gathering. Okay, so Joel Osteen stands in front of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of people, and they can relate to Joel. But this will be a lot more on my kind of a thing. This will just be a group of us, maybe a half a dozen, or maybe a dozen, or maybe even 20 or 30 people eventually, getting together on Sunday nights to talk about this or that. And we might even say something like to shoot the shit. It's not going to be like too too restrictive. It just needs to be openly cool, if you know what I mean. And if you're joining us late, what it's going to be all about is you just get yourself some kind of a nice spiritual book and join us and read it. And it can't be too dogmatic, and it can't be too like ours is the only religion. and yours is bullshit. It's got to be cool, and you've got to be open-minded, because in my opinion, nobody really knows for sure what is beyond this life. We can only really guess. And some people think that they do from the things that their parents told them, or the things that their priest or pastor or whatever bishop in the Mormon church told them. But I don't know that that's true. I've listened to a lot of gurus, as I mentioned the other day in my video, a lot of spiritual speakers, Joel Osteen and Muji and all of them. And nobody's perfect. Okay, so when you guys hear me, sometimes you'll listen to me and you'll be like, man, he really sounds like he's spiritually attuned. And other times I'll say something and you just don't like it, and I'm just a, you know what. We ebb and flow. Okay, our minds and our bodies, they ebb and flow. Our planets and where they're located in our birth charts ebbs and flows. And we go through all these different cycles. And you may see me really pissed off one day. You may see me more level-headed, as I am tonight. Tonight I believe that I'm more level-headed because I've been fasting all day. And like I said earlier, I'm going to do that a lot more. It can be painful, but it can be really beneficial on a lot of different levels. And it's one of the things that needs to ebb and flow. And it's one of the things that's mentioned in the Bible as that you should do on the seventh day. And, you know, I've told you, I've dissed the Bible before because I've opened it several times, maybe a dozen times in my life, and read it. And it generally doesn't do a lot for me. But there have been many wise men and women in the past that have written things in various books. And so not everything in the Bible is to be excused as being old-fashioned or uncivilized, whatever, just because it was written by people thousands of years ago. Some things are wise, and that one thing is probably very wise: regular fasting. Okay, so in today's health books, a lot of them, there are some that are written specifically just on fasting. And they might not mention anything about the Bible at all. They talk about specifics about how it gives relief to the digestive system, it gives relief to the body's processes, to just not eat and take a very relaxing day off. Very important. And hey, Nisi, I hope that you're doing better. You know, I worry about people sometimes, but if there's not much that I can do about it, then I tend to just leave them be for a while, Nisi. And I hope that you've transitioned into a new place. But you're welcome to join us on Sunday nights too, at 9 p.m. Find yourself a spiritual book. The link is in the description box below. It's a Google Meet link. And it's probably a pretty good platform. We'll see. And they created it out of necessity. And I think that, yeah, you guys know what I think about the future of humanity, with them being as unhealthy as they are. It's not a very good outlook. And if I think about it too much, it can really get me down, and it can really get me worried about all of our future, you know. And that's another reason why I'm creating this gathering. In this small town, I don't have a real spiritual gathering that I can go to. There was one Buddhist gathering that was online with some local people that I kind of liked a few of those people, and but I'm not someone that wants to adhere totally to one specific modality of spirituality like the Buddhists. I already told you that I think that the Zen Buddhists are really strict. Too strict for me. Like, I don't want to sit and meditate looking at a wall, you know. But there are beneficial aspects to each one of them, and that's why I've dabbled, and that's why I'm still open to going to some. But kind of the same with my community idea, I want to create my own. And that's why I'm inviting y'all to come and join me on Sunday nights. And we can see each other. If you don't want to be seen, you can turn your camera off. You can just listen, you know, whatever. But if you'd like to participate, and I've done this before, a long time ago, me and a few of my Facebook friends, they're still my friends, I invited them to it tonight. But we used to get together on Skype, and it wasn't a very good connection. I was the host, and I was living out at the cabin, I believe it was, or maybe it was the other cabin. It was the one in Brevard. But the internet speed wasn't very good, and so this will be better now. If you've got good internet speed, decent internet speed, it should work. And so you can join us. And yeah, if anybody rude pops in, I'll just block them. Won't be a big deal. Was up? Was up? 50 USD, 1,000 pesos. That's affordable. And maybe finally I can get a holistic consultation from you. Joe, you've been a good viewer for a long time, and I don't expect you to buy anything or join us or whatever. You're a good commenter, and that's good enough. Your comments amaze me sometimes, Joe. Very insightful and cool. So, 14 people are watching. That's nice. It's nice for what is it? It's a Monday night, Labor Day. I'm telling y'all, there are so many things that I just don't relate to with our society today. And, you know, I walk by this guy's house that has those movie posters. I think I showed you. He has a collection of probably thousands of movie posters. You know, the things they put in front of the movie theaters that you see who the actors are and what the name of the movie is, etc. And he's collected those, and I think, you know, there was a time when I watched movies, but I don't do anything like that anymore. I don't even like I think I may have told you when I go last time I went to a movie theater, it just about the loudness of it just about blew my ears out. And I was thinking if I ever go to a movie again, I'm gonna bring some ear protection, you know, or earplugs. I really like the regular kind like I use for woodworking. It seals off your ears from that makes the sound just about perfect if I wear a pair of those at the movie theater. But that's just kind of how it is for so many different things. That seems like a lot of things are just loud for me, or too aggressive or too extreme. But if I consider how kind of opinionated, definitely opinionated, and often loud I personally am, it kind of is a weird thing. I'm kind of the anti-society YouTuber, and I know I'm not the only one. I know a lot of people think the same things, but I'll tell you the reason why. I have all this analytical energy in my head, and I analyze things in this world, and I just go, Are you kidding me? You know, because I'll put this and that together, and I'll kind of understand the reasoning for the way people are, why people do things the way they do, why people want everything easy in life. But like for me, I could be happy just living in a little cabin, washing my dishes in a couple of tubs. I don't even need running water. Think about that. I don't need running water. I could be happy just collecting rainwater off the roof and having it go into a tank inside the house. I don't even need to bury the tank. Okay, so anywhere around here that you go out in the country, they'll have a spring, like in the cabin that I lived out in the country here. They'll have a spring, and then the spring feeds a tank that they've buried underground. Okay, so just above that cabin that I lived in outside of town, there was a huge, and I mean huge, cement water tank buried in the ground. You could go swimming in that thing. You could, literally. It had a cover on it, a big cement cover. And you can pull that, it's called a cistern. Cistern. Is it a cistern? I think it's called a cistern. In any case, it's a huge cement tank that they buried in the ground up on the hillside. And the only way that you can do that is to have a backhoe, a big backhoe, not a little one that you rent at the rental place, but one of those big mother effers. And you dig a big hole. And so that's what they did, and they buried this huge cement water tank up there. And the funny thing is, the spring that was feeding that particular tank ran dry a few years back. And so the owner of that property had to put in another tank like 40 yards away from it and get it from another spring that was feeding it. There was a lot of water on that property. Hi, Susan. So all of that to me is really overkill. And when he started ripping down the trees on the side of that hillside, oh my God, the noise and the invasiveness of it. When you're somebody that cares about nature and all of this, it's just, I understand why they do it. I understand how they're doing it and the reasoning behind all these different things, like a septic tank. You have to bury that. There's all these things on a property nowadays that have to be buried in the ground, and you use a backhoe to dig a trench, you dig a pit, etc. The foundation of a house, all of this. But for many of these things, I've figured out ways to bypass a lot of that, just simply. And the ways aren't, they're not as always as easy, as convenient, as you know, as convenient and simple. Not simple, but easy for people. Like when you go to a sink, all you do is you just turn the knob and there goes the water, you know, and perhaps, yeah, I can run a pipe from my internal inside of the house water tank over to a sink. But do you see where I'm getting at with all of this? Having, as another example of something that's really problematic, okay? All of those telephone poles that you see outside, with all of that electricity running from a nuclear power plant or a coal power plant or whatever, poles are very problematic. They're not only unhealthy. When I go out and walk underneath all of these electrical poles, I'm getting a degree of EMF in my body from them. But when a hurricane hits New Orleans like this, what happens? Well, it's pretty obvious. A lot of things a lot of those poles get knocked over and all of the electricity goes out, and a whole lot of people that were used to air conditioning and other electrical things, they're all, you know what, out of luck. And so being really gentle on the electricity and not using too much is one of my goals, and being off grid really. being off grid and not having to rely upon all of that is another long-term goal. I'd like to hope that it's not too long term, but who knows? Maybe I'll be able to do this within 5 years. I have faith, okay? So one of the possibilities that I could get some cash flowing my way is if someone left me in their inheritance, one of my viewers left me an inheritance. I'm not sure that my mom will be leaving me anything because we've just really completely disconnected, you know? Who knows? But with the job, the business that I have now, and with my mindset on knowing that all of the work that I have to do on myself, I don't know that I'd ever be able to make enough of these products to make enough money to buy land, especially here. I can tell you that I'm really dedicated to doing the products, the business and the products, but I'm also dedicated to surviving. and and that's kind of why another thing, okay? So that's another thing that I really have to have in regards to all of this because who knows what's going to happen. Just like the other day, I get a magical email from Amazon telling me that my affiliate links, my affiliate um, program, my affiliate whatever with Amazon has been canceled because I broke their rules. Um, Anything can happen on any given day. In this kind of a world, in this world, it's crazy. It's crazy. Now, I want to step back a little bit on something in regards to the vaccines. Okay, so anybody that knows me and where I've been, if they knew the trenches that I've been through with health and all of the things that I've learned, they wouldn't even flinch to disagree with me in regards to not getting it. So now, if I were to take myself and put myself into someone else's position, perhaps where they're living with someone that's old and that person, for whatever reason, they never got into natural health, they don't have natural instincts to take care of themselves very well. You should know I'm a Cancer, and Cancers are the caregivers and homebodies. And Cancers are often people that are massage therapists and nurses and hairdressers and therapists and things like that. And so we have more of a sense of taking care of ourselves and of other people than most signs. And so perhaps other people don't have that natural instinct. Maybe they just aren't smart enough to know better. Maybe they aren't smart enough to have the instincts to know better than to trust everything that the government says. I don't know. All I'm telling you is that I understanding things mentally like this has to be a very important key for me to be able to forgive them, accept them, allow them, whatever them, to be as they are. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to get pissed off, because I am. I was talking to Tom Lesher of New Paradigm Astrology tonight on Facebook. And I don't always agree with Tom. Tom is very left and he's very liberal and he's very of the feminine. He's a really good dude. But he was really pissed off tonight because I shared with him that Clapton video, and Clapton's one of his favorite artists. And it just makes us sad that he was talked into, Eric Clapton was talked into getting the you know what. It makes us sad because it's done a lot of damage to his health. But we can't, that's what this meeting is all about. Okay, so if you just joined us, that's what this meeting is all about. There has to be a place that we get to. There has to be a space within us that says, okay, we can forgive the world. I'm going to continue to read this because this passage in the Course in Miracles, that's what it's all about. So we're going to get together on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. for a different kind of a gathering. You see me do these Sunday night lives. I think that Sunday night is a really fantastic time to get together with people and do a spiritual gathering where we connect back and forth. You don't just listen to me. You give us your feedback. You read your spiritual book. And you can turn your camera on if you want. You can just listen if you want, whatever. But this is the Course in Miracles, and it's something that I don't mind reading once in a while. And tonight I opened it to the 75th lesson. In the 75th lesson, I've read part of it and I'll continue. Dwell not upon the past today. Keep a completely open mind, washed of all past ideas and clean of every concept you have made. You have forgiven the world today. You can look upon it now as if you never saw it before. You do not know yet what it looks like. You merely wait to have it shown to you. While you wait, repeat several times slowly in complete patience. The light has come. I have forgiven the world. Okay, so years ago, I learned about positive affirmations from Wayne Dyer. So there's one for you. You can say it over and over again. The light has come. I have forgiven the world. Even though you may not have completely forgiven the world, if you think about why you might be able to forgive the world, for the reasons that I stated a few minutes ago, that perhaps people just are not intelligent enough to see the truth. Perhaps they just bought into the whole medical industry because Obamacare told them to, blah, 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 you know. Perhaps they bought into something Donald Trump said. Perhaps they bought into something that some spiritual leader said. Perhaps they're just not strong enough or smart enough or whatever, have enough gumption to think on their own. But most of you do. And that's why I'm starting this gathering, because I want to get together with people that are cool, people that are thinkers, people that are not just sheep. I don't want to go to a gathering around here on Sunday morning, but I want a gathering. So I've come to realize that getting together with people is really important. That's why I've been to all of these different kinds of spiritual gatherings. I wanted to get a taste of each one. And some of them, it was really weird, weirdly cool. Some of them I didn't like. Some of the people I liked a lot, and some I didn't like. I went to the Unitarian Church a long time ago in Ogden, Utah. And I'll tell you about one little story. One morning I went there, and it was just after I'd heard that George Harrison died the day before. Maybe it wasn't the day before, but that week, George Harrison had died. And this was the Unitarian Church. The Unitarian Church is it's a Christian church, but it's liberal, and they care a lot about the environment, okay? A lot of people that are Unitarians are also members of I'm trying to remember it. Maybe somebody might need to help me out with this. The mountains in California, it's named after the mountains in California, and it's a club, and it's an environmental group that you can join. And I can't think of it right now. Help me out. So anyways, many of them are members of that Yeah, the Sierra Club. Yes. Thank you, Joe. Okay, so many of them are members of the Sierra Club, stuff like that. But I'll never forget that day, that how sad people were that George Harrison had died. I believe he died of lung cancer. And that was in the early 2000s, I think, 2003, when George Harrison died. And that was a very, very sad day at the Unitarian Church in downtown Ogden, Utah. But that was an okay gathering. I mean, that wasn't one of my favorites. But this is going to be a gathering that I hope that you all will join me. We'll do the first one this Sunday night. So there's a positive affirmation for you when you feel depressed. The light has come. I have forgiven the world. Realize that your forgiveness entitles you to vision. A lot of that's a perfect example of something out of this book, a single line that gives me power because I can very much connect with it. I think it's very true. Realize that your forgiveness entitles you to vision. Think about that. Because when you just don't, when you feel animosity towards someone for something, it's got to take away from vision, right? It's got to take away from your ability to reason and vision and everything. When you've got to get out your you know what, you've got to get it out. And so if you're really angry about something, you might create a post, as you've seen me, or a video or whatever. You've seen me do it 100 or 1,000 times. But somehow we have to get past all of that. Otherwise, we'll kill ourselves in anger. So understand that the Holy Spirit never fails to give the gift of sight to the forgiving. Believe He will not fail you now. You have forgiven the world. So you'll notice that it doesn't say you can forgive the world. It says you have forgiven the world, like it's already come to pass. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe that's a good way to put it so that you can achieve it faster. He will be with you as you watch and wait. He will show you what true vision sees. It is His will, and you have joined with Him. So you'll notice that the book constantly refers to God, Jesus. I think it's Jesus in this book as a him, but and perhaps something of the heavens is more of the male energy, but you don't have to refer to it of that like that, because see, even on earth it's male and female, and even with a human male it's also male and female. Even with a human female it's also male and female. We all have different aspects to our beings. You've all seen the woman that wears the pants and she's more aggressive and than the guy, and we have a lot of that here where I live out in the country in the liberal Quaker community. All the women wear the pants in that area. It's a weird thing kind of, but it's just how it is. We all have male and female, masculine and feminine energies. But it goes on. Wait patiently for Him. He will be there. The light has come. You have forgiven the world. Tell Him you know you cannot fail because you trust in Him. Tell yourself you wait in certainty to look upon the world He promised you. From this time forth you will see differently. Today the light has come, and you will see the world that has been promised to you since time began, and in which the end of time ensured. The shorter practice periods too will will be joyful reminders of your release. So these are lessons. These are lessons in this book. And you don't have to read this book or any particular book. You can read whatever you want to, as long as it has some kind of a positive or spiritual ring to it to get us through this, all this yada yada, in the coming years. And that's what I think we're up against. Yada yada for years. It's a hole that humanity has dug for itself, unfortunately. And they don't even have yet, they're just barely starting to scratch the surface of realizing what I'm trying to tell people in my videos. That they need to work on their health. And it takes hours a day, honestly. It's a lot of work. And because people are so tied into paying for all of this materialism that they bought, and their lifestyles that are geared towards all of the materialism, it's just a seriously deep hole that they've dug for themselves. A lot of you may be in that boat. Yeah, nobody knows what will happen tomorrow. And so that's what the group is all about, getting us through. Getting us through. So the shorter practice periods too will be joyful reminders of your release. Remind yourself every quarter of an hour or so that today is a time for special celebration. Give thanks for the mercy and the love of God. Rejoice in the power of forgiveness to heal your sight completely. Be confident that on this day there is a new beginning. Without the darkness of the past upon your eyes, you cannot fail to see today. And what you see will be so welcome that you will gladly extend today forever. Say then, the light has come, I have forgiven the world. Should you be tempted to say to anyone who seems to pull you back into darkness, the light has come, I have forgiven you. We dedicate this day to the serenity in which God would have you be. Keep it in your awareness of yourself and see it everywhere today as we celebrate the beginning of your vision and the sight of the real world which has come to replace the unforgiven world you thought was real. So that's kind of what this book is about. It's about telling you that this world isn't real. And that's kind of what a lot of the spiritualities say. So who knows? All I can tell you is that a lot of times when I've opened that book, the majority of times, it gives me what I need. And if I read it for a while, sometimes I'll cry. Sometimes I'll feel as though I get a degree of relief from the pressures of the world. And so I just think I think it's a really good idea to get together with y'all on a higher level. Okay, so this is fine, but it's time to step it up to where we're all interacting together. So it's not just good enough for me to just talk at you all the time. I got to have somebody talking back to me. And I want to feel and hear your energy. So the link is in the description box below. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday night. We're going to do this for a while instead of Sunday Night Live. And I hope that you can join me. Yeah. Thanks, everybody, and have a nice night. Have a great week.